in terms of comments, I think most of you are aware that the legislature adjourns for its summer recess tomorrow. Some of us are very glad that's happening. It means some time off. And I think Frances and I, it's been interesting over there these first 7 months in what's supposed to be a housing crisis, and the lack of legislation maybe, or appropriate legislation. But Frances, we certainly look forward to your report. I know we've been knee deep in battles over there, and it's amazing sometimes how this legislature approaches this issue of housing. But with that, Tia, I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, thank you, and we have a full house today, so thank you all for coming. I wanted to start off with acknowledging some of our program successes for the 18-19 fiscal year, since we have just coming off of that. And for the first time in several years, it appears that our multifamily lending volume will be exceeding our fiscal year 18-19 goals, which I am so tickled pink about multifamily and all the hard work that they have done. This data is estimated because we still haven't had an audit on it, but it looks like our combined program goal was $415 million in volume. Currently, we show that we have reached $618 million, nearly 150% of our goal, and we'll be creating or preserving more than 3,000, well, actually creating more than 3,000 new units. Our permanent volume goal was $150 million, and we looks like we did $177 million. Our special needs housing MHSA volume, we had a goal of $15 million, and we reached $23 million. And our conduit volume was $250 million, and it looks like we've reached $418 million. So again, I'd like to recognize all of the hard work of multifamily. We know that's been our focus for the last couple of years, so it's very exciting. Turning to single family, they also had another banner year. They have exceeded their $1.5 billion goal for the fiscal year, securitizing more than $3.5 billion and assisting more than 12,000 households. And so let's give that shout out to the team on our single family side. Regarding our mixed income program update, you will recall SB2 in 2017 created a permanent source of affordable housing known as the Building Homes and Jobs Act. 15% of those funds are annually appropriated to CalHFA for the purpose of creating mixed income multifamily residential housing for low to moderate income households beginning in 2019. There was a NOFA, a Notice of Funding Availability for $40 million in funds, was released in February, and applications were due on April 30th. CalHFA received 13 applications and eventually selected 8 projects for preliminary awards. These 8 projects will be use $39.6 million in mixed income program funds to produce 1,379 units of housing. Letters were sent out to the applicants notifying them of the preliminary award on June 28th, and we're now working to complete the underwriting, and the initial commitments are expected in August. And October we'll be on track to take those projects to meet the SIDLAC deadlines. We expect 6 of these projects to be presented to the board for approval. The MIP, or mixed income program loans projects, range between $6 million for the large projects, which were 240 to over 390 units, and $3.6 million for the smallest project, which is about 90 units. 6 of the 8 projects use CalHFA perm lending, and those projects total more than $187 million in CalHFA perm debt. The total permanent loans for the projects, including those with preferred lenders Chase and Hunt, is $226,165,000. The projects are geographically mixed, with 1 in Northern California, 5 in the Bay Area, and 2 in Southern California. Of the 1,367 restricted units, 94%, or 1,290, will serve a mix of low incomes between 30% AMI and 80% AMI, and 6%, or 77 units, will serve moderate income renters above 80% AMI. 73% of the units will serve a mix of low incomes between 30 and 60% AMI. Regarding the expanded state tax credit program, we will hear from a panel later on about the program, the timing of the regulations, and the implementation of the expanded tax credit program, so I'll defer to them on that. We had a board member who asked a couple of meetings ago about bond disclosures, and so I want to make sure that we're answering all of those questions. I know we are planning some additional training on bond disclosures, but just for the purposes of open transparency, we have issued one bond for Hookstone Apartments that was issued in November of 2018 for a loan amount of $23,090,000 with a rehab interest rate of 4.2%. Lastly, some important and upcoming conferences. We will be traveling next week. I will be traveling next week to the Executive Director's Workshop in NCSHA's National Workshop in Portland, Oregon, and that will be followed with the Housing Finance Agencies of the West Coast Exchange, which we have found very collaborative and getting good information, and that's usually Washington, Oregon, and the state of California. And lastly, at the end of the month on July 26th, I'll be traveling to Washington, D.C. with a group of NCSHA executive team to talk to Mark Calibria, the new director of FHFA, which is the Federal Housing Finance Agency, on some GSE reform and other issues that we're dealing with at the national level. And so, Mr. Chair, I think that concludes my executive director's report.
It's a lot.
It is.
Congrats to the team. That's awesome work. Good job. When does your term end as president?
October.
Okay, so you're still president.
And yes, I'm still president, and I'm going to be seeking re-election
Yes.
for a second term.
Even better. All right, let's move on to our next item, which is our governance training. I guess we'll ask Mandy to come on up now. Nothing like a little training. I feel like Mandy and I've kind of grown up here together. I remember when she first started and she was in the number 2 seat, and now she's in the number 1 seat. I think you've met Mandy before. She's a principal at Clifton Larson Allen, which is the 8th largest CPA firm in the country. She is their national leader for our housing industry, and Mandy specializes in auditing, accounting, consulting services for housing authorities, housing finance agencies, and HUD-assisted properties. Her involvement includes membership in the Affordable Housing Association of CPAs. I didn't know there was such a thing. And the National Association of Housing and Redevelopment Officials. She serves on the board of Inwood Housing Development Corporation and the Braddock Carnegie Public Library. She's a member of the American Institute of CPAs, the Maryland Association of CPAs, and the Pennsylvania Institute for CPAs. She has a bachelor's degree from Salisbury, and she's a licensed CPA in the states of Maryland and Pennsylvania. And with that, the floor is yours, Mandy.
Okay.
Good to
Well,
see
thank you very much for that, Mike. I
You're very
appreciate
welcome.
that. Oh, I don't have a, this way. Take this one. All right. Good afternoon, everyone, or good morning. I'm still a little bit on East Coast time, so I forget where I am sometimes in the morning. So, well, thank you all very much. First, how many people were here in September when I did this presentation last year? Okay, more people than. So it'll be a refresh for several of you, and for the others, it will be something new. So the board governance training, this is a great thing to have every couple years or when needed when there's new board members. I always find it, I've been a board member for many years, and obviously talking to a lot of boards, I always like to hear this information again, just so I remember my responsibilities as a board member. So we got a couple objectives for today. We're going to go over the overview of accountability and fiduciary responsibilities, and then we're going to talk about some specifics of CalHFA that is required for you all. In addition, at the end, I threw in, if you all remember last year, some fun fraud facts. I have some more this year, and some additional ones that we can go over, just so you all are aware of that kind of information. Okay, first of all, just the fiduciary responsibilities and the duties as a board member. You have 3 main responsibilities. You have the duty of care, the duty of loyalty, and the duty of obedience. Today, we're basically mostly talk about the duty of care and duty of loyalty. And as you can see by the screen, duty of care, diligence and attentiveness to board responsibility. Act as an ordinary, prudent person would in a position. That one we'll go into a little bit more detail in some subsequent slides. And then the duty of loyalty. This one